ahead and sit down. You are going to be sitting in a way where your body, your musculature, and your bones are holding you up, not the chair. Aside from the seat, of course. Very good. All right. So look down. You have that imaginary line going across your toes. One foot's not further in front of the other foot. All toes are touching the line at the same place. Good. Lift the toes up nice and high. Spread them wide. Press the heels down. Keep pressing the heels down as the toes gently float back down to the floor. So the heels are still pressing, quads are still super engaged. And then notice your default, leaning forward. Do you lean back? What do you tend to do? And then you're just going to start to rock a little bit forward and back. Loosening up your low back here. Very good. And then finding where is your neutral, right? So where I'm not leaning forward and I'm not leaning back, but instead I'm very centered, right? When you find that neutral, stick it, press the feet down a little bit more, lift up through the pelvic floor, lift up through the front of the spine, all the way up to the neck. Good, the shoulders are gonna roll back and down. And then let the chin come down and back. And then let the eyes just very gently close. And notice before you do your sighs or anything like that, notice right now if you're still in your neutral, right? Sometimes when our eyes are closed, we can notice the most subtle of shifts. So observe that. Try to stay in the neutral, keep the pelvic floor engaged. And then begin with your 3 sighs. So breathing in through the nose, open the mouth, give a nice big deep sigh out through the mouth, let it go. And 3 times. Do you take those 3 sighs? The breath is just coming in and out through the nose. And of course, I say that, but I always like to also remind you that if at any point in time you want to take a sigh and that feels good for you, take a sigh. There's nothing wrong with it. And I want you to notice before we start moving where your breath is flowing effortlessly. We're going to tie back into that during our relaxation at the end of the session. Okay, so without changing or manipulating anything about your breathing, breathing very naturally in and very naturally out. You simply observe what part of the torso is doing the most amount of movement. Where are you the least restricted with your breath? And certainly if you'd like to set an intention for the class or the day, the weekend, for the month, the week, whatever that might be for you, you can do that. Beautiful. And then slowly letting the eyes open. And we will get started just with loosening up the neck a bit here. So we're going to start just by nodding yes. Okay, so you're going to drop the chin down towards the chest. And then to the level of your comfort, lift the chin up to the ceiling. You can do this with breath, exhaling as the chin comes down, inhaling as the chin goes up. And do it slow, very slow. You know, I love to talk about alignment, right? So you're going to get the most out of this exercise if your shoulders stay back and down and your chest stays lifted. So when the chin is dropping towards the chest, that doesn't mean the chest is dropping and the shoulders are coming forward. That means everything stays the same and only the cervical spine, the neck, is doing the moving. Good. Go ahead and bring your head to neutral. And then we will do nose, right? So you're just simply shaking your head no, bringing your chin towards one shoulder. Keep that shoulder back and down, chest high. And then you bring it to center and, of course, over to the other side. You're going to notice one side. You're typically going to have a lot more range of motion than the other side. And just maintaining that nice slow breath. And then next time you come back through center, just keep your face there. Good. We're going to combine the two of those. So I want you to drop your chin towards your chest and then start to move the chin kind of in between the chest and the shoulder. So you're going to be feeling a stretch on the opposite side of that neck in the back. Chin stays nice and high. Take some deep breaths. This is a great opportunity, a great place to take some sighs if you like. And then keeping the chin kind of in between the chest and the shoulder, you're just going to bring the chin up. So lifting the head and now getting a stretch in the front of the neck. Good. Bring yourself back to center, very neutral, and we'll do that on the other side, of course. So the chin's going to come down to the chest, and then you're bringing your chin to the other side in between the chest and the shoulder. So don't go all the way to the shoulder, just about halfway in between. Chest is going to lift, shoulders drop down and back, and the breath gets a little bit deeper. Again, with the head hanging low like this, you can take some of those sighs, get a little extra release. And then just lifting that chin, lifting the face up, and getting a stretch in the front side of the neck. Let yourself come back to center. Very nice. All right, I want to get your spine moving a little bit before we do our twists. So we're going to come to cat-cows, of course. Exhaling as the tailbone comes forward and you round the back. Think one vertebra at a time. And then inhaling as you lift the tailbone, arch the back. One vertebra at a time. Right. So moving with the breath, let the breath be slow, let the breath be deep. That's going to keep the movement slower. And keep you a little more present. The next time you come into a cat pose, that's that exhalation, the rounded back, you're going to stay in that position, but of course, continue to breathe. And bring your left hand over onto your right knee. So we're getting a different kind of stretch on the left side of the back here. So the belly's pulling in, you're actively rounding your back. You're still breathing. The shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. Just try to let the inhalation stretch that left side of the back. The exhalation, relax it. Good. Keep the back rounded. Bring it to the other side. Both hands on the left knee. Now breathing into the right side of the back. Low belly pressing in. And bring yourself back to center, rolling yourself all the way back up to neutral. And then we will come right into our barrel rolls, right? So getting a little more side to side action, right? The hips get a little more involved here. Okay, so feel where there's stiffness. We did this a little last week too. And wherever there's stiffness, slow it down in that area. Right? The body, if there's stiffness, if there's resistance, right, it wants to speed past it. It doesn't want to work through it. See if you can slow it down and work through that space. Beautiful. And then you're going to reverse it, of course. We're going to bring it on around the other direction. Awesome. Come to neutral. Good. All right. Bring your feet just a little bit wider. It doesn't need to be super wide. I just want to get a little side body action. So the right arm is going to come down. The left hand or left forearm is going to be on your left thigh. You're just going to reach that arm up, maybe over. So you're coming into a bend here. And then you're going to bring yourself all the way back up. And we're just going to stay on that right side for a little bit. So you're inhaling, you're reaching up over, and you're exhaling, bringing it all the way back down. Okay? If it doesn't feel good for you to bring your arm very high, don't bring it high. These classes are all about you going to where you're comfortable going. Everybody is different. Good. So for my count, at least, this is the last one. And then we go to the other side, of course. So right hand or forearm on the right thigh, left arm down. As you inhale, reach that arm up, maybe bringing it over if that's comfortable. And then coming all the way back to center. Your breath, your pace. And I know I say this a lot, but I just find it fascinating when you start paying attention. So just notice which side feels looser, which one feels tighter, right? And for for me at least, it's remarkable how much looser I am on one side than the other side. And when I have that awareness, then in the future I say, oh, okay, I need to do that tighter side a couple extra times. Good. Let's do one more. Last one for my count at least. Good. All right. Bring those feet back hip distance apart. We're just going to dynamically twist here. So you're going to inhale, reach those arms up nice and high. You're going to exhale. I'm going to twist to the right. I'm just going to stay there to the end of my exhale. Then I'm going to inhale, bring it back up to center, arms reach. And then I'll exhale and I'll go to the left. And so moving with your breath here. I'll say just pay attention a bit to the rib flare that tends to happen on that inhalation. Try not to let the front ribs kind of poke out in the back arch, but keep that nice neutral spine. We're going to play a bit with rib flare with our breathing practices this afternoon. A couple more, focusing on inhaling, but inhaling into the back body, into the side body, not letting those front ribs stretch forward. Let's do one more each side here. Good. After that, one more each side. We meet back in center. All right, lovely. Go ahead and come forward. You're going to bring your right forearm across your thighs. So my right fingertips are outside of my left leg. I'm going to push my leg and fingertips into each other. You can start taking your left hand just to your hip and just turning your shoulders to the left. Right, left shoulder back, right shoulder forward. If you want a little bit more, you can reach that left arm out behind you. But notice what's happening again in the rib cage. Try to stay nice and neutral. Good. Bring yourself back to center. We're just switching sides, left forearm across, fingertips outside that right leg. Start with your right hand on your hip. Turn the shoulders, right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. And then if you want to reach that arm behind you, you can. But your leg and your fingertips are pressing into each other. Trying to stay as neutral as possible in the spine. Belly's engaged. Beautiful. Bring yourself all the way back to center and then go ahead and come all the way up. Good. So you're going to reach your left arm up. Okay. You have a couple options here. You can come to your right toes by lifting your right heel. Or if you want a little bit more, you're going to lift the right foot. Good. You can also reach both arms up if you like. Right. Breathe here. Notice what's happening. Are you rounding the back? Are you arching the back? Or are you trying to stay right there in that neutral? Right? To stay in neutral takes a lot of work. So keep the breath going. A little hip flexor action here. Good. Take the right foot down. Take the arms down. Roll the shoulders out. Lovely. All right. Other side. So start with the right arm up. Lift the left heel. Maybe you flex the foot and lift the left foot. Right, so you should feel your abs engage and your hip flexor. If you want even more, reach the left arm up so both arms are high. Right, if it feels like too much, you don't keep the arms up, right? Bring one down or even both down, that's fine. Right, but again, notice, are you rounding the back, arching the back? How is the spine? Is it neutral? Are you breathing? Next, we're just holding this, but it's work. It's a lot of work. So make sure you're breathing. Good. Release it down. Awesome. We're going to do that one more each side. All right. So left arm's going to lift. Do what you want with your right leg. Do what you want with your right arm. Right? You also have the option, if you want, to straighten and bend this right leg. That's just going to make it more challenging. Right? You guys all know how I teach now. So the more we do, the more challenging it'll get. And one more if you're doing that little pump. And then everybody bring it down. Great. All right, last time, other side. Right arm's reaching up. Do what you want with your left leg. Left arm reaches up possibly. Good. If you want more, you're pumping that left leg. You don't have to do that, right? Your toes might be on the floor with your heel lifted, and you're working on strength there. That's good too. And I'm doing one more of these. Awesome. And then I'm bringing it all the way down. Very nice. All right, let's come up to stand. Please grab water, as always. And we will be going right into sun salutations, just so you know where your chair will be. All right. What I can see, we're good. All right, so stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. One thing that I've been mentioning lately is if doing the sun salutations feels really easy on your balance, you want to challenge it a little bit more, you can start bringing your feet closer together, right? That's an option for you. You can even bring your big toes so that they touch. The wider apart your feet are, the more stability you're going to feel. So you determine where you want to be with that. You're really press down through the heels, press down through the balls of the feet. Squeeze that imaginary block between your thighs. Lift up through the chest. Roll the shoulders back. Right? So standing Tadasana, just like we start out in seated Tadasana, most of it's the same. When you're ready, you're going to inhale, reach those arms nice and high. Exhale, come into your forward fold. Good. Bend your right knee. We're twisting to the left. So left hand can stay on the hip to modify, or your left arm can reach up to the ceiling. Good. Just notice your range of motion with a twist this direction. Keep the core engaged. Bring yourself back to center. And switch sides. Left knee bends, right arm lifts. It can start on your hip, or you can reach it up towards the ceiling. And again, just observe your range of motion on this side. Which side are you able to twist a little bit further? Beautiful. Bring yourself back to center, and we're walking it back for downward facing dog. Okay, so in down dog, if your feet were closer together for your forward fold up there, you still want your feet hip distance apart in down dog. Ankles and knees and hips are stacked. If you want a little more stretch in your chest, reach your fingertips forward, maybe an inch or two. Breathe. Maybe take a deep sigh here and feel where you relax. Great. Right foot's coming forward. Warrior one, right side. So make sure that left heel comes to the floor. Find your hand position, the chair, the hips. You come out to the side. You can reach up towards the ceiling and do what's good for you today. Good. For the knee safety, always make sure you can see that right big toe. Good. Take those arms down, bring it back, downward facing dog. I debate so many times with myself in my mind. Do I remind them about the right big toe? Because I literally say it every single time we bend our knee in every single class. But it's so important. So I'm sorry if you get sick of hearing it. I want to keep your knees nice and safe. Good. Go ahead and bring your left foot forward. Warrior one, left side. Right heel drops down. Find your hand position. Good. Make sure you can see your left big toe. Good. Beautiful. If your hands are reaching up, maybe you try to reach the fingertips up a millimeter more, right? Think of lifting through the waist. Awesome. Take those hands down, bring yourself into a forward fold. So left foot comes back, right foot comes forward. Determine if you want your feet together or hip distance apart. And then if you want to take a chair pose, you are welcome to. Weight is in the heels. Drop the hips. Squeeze that imaginary block between your thighs and reach the arms out in front. Right, so this is super helpful. To squeeze that imaginary block, you're engaging the thighs. The outer thighs are squeezing in. The hamstrings are wrapping around underneath. Heels are pressing down. Good. Inhale, rise and shine. Bring it on up. And exhale, take it to the heart. Good. We're going to do it again. We're going to add a little half moon stretch. So inhale, reach up. Grab your left wrist and just reach over to the right. Beautiful. Bring it to center. Switch sides. Reaching over to the left. And bring it all the way back up. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your right knee, twist. Left arm reaches. Good. Good alignment, guys. And switch sides. Bend the left knee, twist. Right arm reaches. Beautiful. Bring it back to center. Walk it on back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. And try to reach your tailbone up. Reach the fingertips forward. Take one or two sighs. Feel where you relax. Where are you tight? Where are you holding on? Where you can let go. Beautiful. Right leg's coming forward. Warrior one, right side. If you want it harder, remember you can start to spread the distance between your feet by stepping your left foot back a little more, bending a little deeper in your right knee. And instead of lifting your arms up, you can either have your hands on the chair or reach and clasp your hands behind your back. Roll the shoulders back and down if you're choosing that option, and maybe you start to reach the hands towards the floor or up any amount. Good. Release that grip. Place your hands on the chair and step it back. Down dog. Go ahead and take those two sighs, one or two sighs. Let go. And left foot's popping forward, warrior one pose. Again, if you want to make it a little more challenging, step your right foot back a bit more, and then bend your left knee a little deeper. Same thing. You're instead of lifting your arms up, if you're not holding onto the chair, clasp your hands behind your back. Right? Roll the shoulders back and down. Maybe you start to try to straighten the arms towards the floor. Maybe you start to lift the hands up any amount. Great. Slowly release that grip. Come into your forward fold. Left foot steps back a bit. Right foot comes forward. Have your feet hip distance apart here. I want us to do a little bit of some cheetah. So if cheetah feels intense, you can hang out in forward fold or go between forward fold and down dog if you like for a little more movement. Otherwise, right foot's coming behind you. So you can do cheetah from your foot on the floor, or you can do it more challenging with your foot lifted up. So you decide. Good. You're going to point your toes. You're going to exhale, round the back, bring the knee towards the chest, or think of your knee and your nose touching. Flex the foot and you push it back. Right? So you point the toes, you bring it in, you curl it in, nice tight little ball. You flex the foot and you push it back. Right, I'm going to do 2 more at that pace. Last one. And go ahead and place that right foot back down onto the floor. Of course, we'll do the other side. So left foot comes behind you. You might keep your foot, your toes on the floor here, or you might lift that leg up. You're going to point the toes, exhale, round the back. Think of that cat pose. Knee towards the nose. Flex the foot, push the wall away. So it's slow. Right, I'm exhaling, rounding the back, knee to nose, nice tight ball. I'm inhaling, I'm slowly pushing this like heavy, heavy, heavy wall away. Add 2 more. And then you'll slowly take that foot to meet the right foot. Good. Last opportunity for a chair pose if you're choosing to take it. All right, set the hips back, weights in the heels, squeeze that imaginary block, right? So if you guys have yoga blocks at your house, right? I know some of you do. You can always use that in class and take that block, put it in between your thighs every time we come into Tadasana or chair pose and squeeze it, and you'll actually feel how beneficial that is. Good. Inhale, rise and shine. Bring it on up. And exhale, take it to the heart. Beautiful. All righty. You are going to grab your chair or stand next to your chair, however that works for you. Good. All right. So if I'm on the left side of my chair, I'm going to actually stand on my left leg. I want you to lift your right leg. Okay. Good. If you're able to grab your right knee, the outside of the right knee, you're not actually grabbing it, you're just touching it with your left hand. You're going to keep your chest nice and high. And maybe you start to bring that knee across just a little bit, not all the way. Good. Bring it back to center. Grab underneath that thigh and any amount, straighten the leg. Bend the knee and drop it down. Good. We'll do that on the other side. All right. So if I'm on the right side of my chair, I'm actually standing on my right foot. Good. I'm going to lift my left leg. I might just stay right like this. I might take my hand and just bring it across my body a little bit. Right knee continues to face forward. So what we're trying to do is get a little twist in the low back here. Good. You'll bring it back to center, grab underneath the thigh. You might stay here, or you might try to straighten that leg just for a few moments. Beautiful. And release it down. Very good. Lovely, lovely. Let's grab some water, do a pigeon pose, a little goddess twist, and then we will move on. I don't know if Joe remembers this, but Joe, you've been in those in-person classes before. We've used that block in between the thighs. Um, we did it a lot, and it really, really, really is beneficial. So even if you have like a big, huge book, really big book, depends on how much you like to read, I guess. You can play with that a little bit too, or a ball or something in between. It really does help just to get the memory, the mind, and the memory and the muscle to connect together. So I know I'm blabbering. I should do that while we're in pigeon pose, right? Good. Right ankle over left knee. Keep it in chest nice and lifted. Good. And then lean forward if you want. We're 1 minute here for 1 minute on each side. Beautiful. I love taking those sighs too. Any like forward folds, anytime you're in a forward fold, I feel like for me, I grip like right here in forward folds a lot. I'm always like, and I take that sigh and it just goes, and all that tension just leaves. And I've seen people do it, and it's like their back just releases or their hamstrings release. So always know those are there for you if you're just feeling like really tight and tense in any position or in life, right? Or in life, just sigh. There's a saying, I don't even know when we started saying this saying, but it's probably 100 years old. Just take a deep breath, right? When people are really worked up, just say, just calm down and take a deep breath. Good, switch sides. It actually works though. All right, good. Minute on this side. Of course, I'm going to say which side's tighter. Pay attention to that. Which hip is tighter? A lot of times that knee is going to be higher than the other one, the other side. Good. For me, this hip on this left side's never been right since childbirth. Something happened and this hip just went, psh, not having that. It has been tight ever since, but I still work on it. All about the awareness. Good. 20 more seconds. Beautiful. Alrighty. Release out of that. Go somewhere comfy. Grab some water if you need to grab some water. Please. Once you find your position that you'd like to rest in, we talked a bit about sighs today, so maybe you take a couple of sighs and let yourself settle more deeply. You can once again just pay attention to the areas in your body that let go and that release when you take those sighs. And you just let go. Because the idea with what we do in the end of these Thursday classes is that you feel so supported physically that you don't need to grip and introduce any additional tension into your body. And when you do that and you focus on letting go and you focus on that release, on the exhalation, then not only are you not introducing additional tension, but you're giving yourself the freedom to let go of the tension that is already there. It might be tight muscles, it might be pain, discomfort. But you slowly, always with the exhalation, you just let it start to trickle away. And as you focus on that exhalation and you feel discomfort of whatever type starting to trickle away like a constantly dripping faucet, you find that you can go even more deeply into relaxing and letting go. You can let yourself get heavier into the physical supports that are provided for you. And in a moment here, we're gonna work a little bit on doing a full, complete breath, a true, full, complete breath. And I'm just going to talk about it, and you can jump in and start to practice it at any point. But the way that this works, we're going to be paying attention from the chest all the way to the pelvic floor. Okay, so notice right now, just as you did in the beginning of the session, where your breath is the least restricted. And what I mean by that is, where is your body moving when you breathe in and out? No, I won't speak in absolutes or anything like that, but for the most of us, it is typically in our chest. And what we're going to do with this full breath is you'll start just by trying to inhale, and you're going to try to inhale. We've done this many times, so you're familiar. You're going to try to inhale into the side ribs and into the back body, and you're going to try to start to introduce less of the front body with that inhalation. And you're not forcing it, but Instead, you're releasing that tension, right, on the exhale. And if you can imagine, you have your rib cage and you have these little tiny muscles in between every rib called your intercostal muscles. Those muscles are to be able to move freely. And you also have this muscle on the bottom of the rib cage. It's dome shaped and it's your diaphragm. And what we find for a lot of people, myself included, until I started delving into this a bit a few years back, is that when you exhale, your diaphragm is supposed to rise up to the bottom of the rib cage. But a lot of times it doesn't go all the way up. It doesn't push all that air out. And it weakens the muscle of the diaphragm, which is an extremely strong muscle. And with that comes rib flare, right? And I brought that up a little bit in the practice today, where our ribs kind of start to flare out and there's imbalance in the intercostal muscles. Okay, so you're working on opening up the back ribs, the side ribs. Okay, so now on the inhalation, you're going to try to breathe from the top down to the pelvic floor slowly, like a wave, but there's no engagement. The belly is relaxed. Do not engage the abdominals. They're soft. And at the very end of that inhale, you want to feel the pelvic floor literally relax. It's like an opening. But when you exhale, it's the opposite. You're going to start with the pelvic floor and you're going to deliberately squeeze it. And then you're going to squeeze the lower abdominals, squeeze the abdominals. And then I want you to engage those intercostal muscles, all of them, to squeeze the rib cage in. The intercostal muscles in the back of the body and the side of the body and the front of the body, so that you're bringing the rib cage back into its natural closed state with no rib flare. And when that happens, the diaphragm lifts up and goes back to where it is supposed to go. And then when you inhale, you let it all go. Relax everything. We've played with that a bit before when I tell you the end of the exhale, push the belly button in and it releases air, and then you relax and the vacuum comes in, right? This is similar, not the same, but similar. So again, that inhalation, you guys are just jumping in when you're ready to, but that inhalation starts at the top, the chest. It includes, it's three-dimensional. It includes the side, it includes the back body, and you're just trying to let it flow down. The belly's relaxed. You let the pelvic floor open and soften. And then when you exhale, it's a reverse, but a contraction, a squeezing. You squeeze the pelvic floor. I want you to squeeze the lower abdominals, the rest of the abdominals. Take the rib cage, use those intercostals, and draw the ribs intentionally in. So that at the end of that exhale, you are contracted. The rib cage is in. The diaphragm is where it's supposed to be, pushing all that toxic air out, all the carbon dioxide. And then, like that wave, you start to relax from the chest down to that pelvic floor. Open up, relax. Nothing's engaged. There's no sucking in, there's no contraction. The end of that inhale, you're expanded. Pelvic floor is relaxed. Then you squeeze from the bottom, squeeze it all the way back up. Use those intercostals. Decrease that rib flare. Abdominals are engaged. Pelvic floor, ribs squeezing in. And then you release again. You release from the top all the way to the bottom. And you just repeat that over and over. So it's this openness in the inhale. And the pelvic floor is very connected. It's very connected to the core. It's very connected to the diaphragm, which is why for today I'm having us work with the pelvic floor a little bit and with the diaphragm and see how they're very connected to one another. And we're going to be practicing this for several weeks. Okay. And hopefully, what you'll start to notice is the rib flare that you might have. You A, become more aware of the fact that it's there, and you B, start to strengthen the intercostal muscles and the muscle of the diaphragm so much that the ribs are able to come back to their natural state, as is the diaphragm, so that you get more efficient breaths. So you can, as we always do, at the end of class, continue to practice this. If you feel like you're just getting the hang of it, do it for a couple more minutes. If you want to let it go, rest, or come back. Whatever you feel is good for you in this moment. But I appreciate your trust in me to guide you through our classes together. I truly feel a connection with each and every one of you. And I hope that goes both ways. Enjoy your weekend, your 4th of July. I hope you have smiles and laughter and love. Peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, peaceful intention. Namaste.